Hello everybody! How are we all doing today? Long time no see, I know. Sorry about that. Christmas just came up and then I had my Christmas break obviously from work, and you know what? Let's face it, Mia, you have 400 subscribers. Nobody cares. Move on. I am back at it again in 2021, 3 months later. Sorry again. I have a bunch of new cases coming up that I am in the midst of writing scripts for now and in the process of uploading. So plenty more is on the way, which is good. I definitely plan to be a bit more consistent this year. Hopefully grow my channel a lot more and invite more of the true crime community over my way. If you are new here and you like true crime, then come subscribe to my channel. You'll have a great time over here. I take suggestions. We do solved and unsolved cases. I'm happy to cover big cases, smaller cases that maybe you guys or even myself haven't even heard of before. So come subscribe, comment, interact with me, follow me on Instagram, DM me. I want to talk about true crime with my community. Now, today I thought that I would... Okay, please don't come for me. I know so many YouTubers do this, the murder and makeup, mystery and makeup, murder, mystery, makeup Mondays. Like, so many people do them. Bella Fiore, Bailey Sarian, just to name a couple. But now I realize why some YouTubers do this, because I don't know if I am engaging enough just sitting here and talking about the true crime cases. I want to sometimes do things that aren't distracting and that are not going to take away from me talking about the cases, of course, because that's why we're all here. But I thought maybe today I could just do my simple makeup routine and talk about the true crime case and maybe see how it goes. Maybe I can do it like once a month, like a mystery makeup thing, not every single video. But if you guys like it, then I mean, ultimately I'm happy to do whatever you guys like. So let me know after this video if you liked me doing my makeup and talking about the case, or if you thought it was too distracting and you don't like it. I am no makeup whiz. I mean, I literally don't know anything about makeup at all. I'm no beauty guru. So if you're here trying to subscribe to me because you like beauty guru stuff, then no, just stay for the true crime. Oh. If you guys want to know any specific products that I use, just comment down below and ask me and I will tell you all my secrets. Okay, so I've got no makeup on right now, obviously. Got a lot of friends to introduce you to, but that's okay. We are all beautiful, even when we have bad skin days. So get over it, Mia. Please note, I am in no way a professional. I do not work in any areas of crime investigation or law. I just simply like to review and talk about true crime cases from all over the world, and all this information on this channel in this video is from online sources that are available to everybody, the general public. No disrespect is ever intended towards anyone I may mention in this case or any of my other cases. So with that all being said, let's just dive on right into the case. So in today's case, as you can tell from the title, we're going to be talking about the case of, drumroll please, Mothman. Anytime now. If you can't tell from my accent, I am Australian and I can't speak for all Aussies, obviously, but I had never heard of this case growing up. I'd never heard of these stories as a kid in school or anything like that. I literally only found out about this case about 3 weeks ago. I just stumbled across a video 3 weeks ago that someone else made on Mothman, and then I was reading up about it and watched a couple of documentaries about it, and I thought, well, this is super interesting. I am definitely going to cover this one on my channel. But I'm interested to know if other countries are really involved with this Mothman case or not. That's why I was just so surprised when I heard about it, like that I hadn't heard about it for so long. Like, get out from under your rock, Mia. So we begin this story in West Virginia, USA, November 15th, 1966. setting the scene. It was really late at night and two couples, so 4 people, had gone out to a kind of remote area in West Virginia. It was sort of like a hangout spot for youths and for people to sort of muck around in their cars and hang out. This area or town was called Point Pleasant, and as I said, it was on the outskirts of West Virginia. It was actually a place where back in the day, back in World War II, they dumped a bunch of ammunition. So this area in Point Pleasant that people would frequently go to kind of hang out late at night, it was called the TNT area. So the 2 young couples were Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mallet. And as I said, they were just driving around together in the TNT area hanging out. So they're just driving around in the darkness, doing whatever they're doing. And all of a sudden, they see something up ahead, like in the shadows on the road, and they can see these 2 glowing red things. So they're like peering out the window, obviously, and they're kind of looking at each other like, what is that? What is that glowing thing? Is it another car? Do we need to get off the road? Like, what is it? They could specifically see these 2 glowing red circles, like close to each other, and they were huge, they said, and they were staring or pointing right at their car. So obviously they kind of edge like a little closer to see what it is. So they then shine their headlights out in front of them, put their high beams on and shine it onto the red lights. And then suddenly they realize that these red lights were not lights, they were actually eyes. And these eyes were attached to a body, like a humanoid body with glowing red eyes. But this was no normal looking human body. This thing had huge wings on its back, and it was just really, really big size-wise. So it was just this huge humanoid looking man with huge glowing red eyes and huge wings on its back, and it was just standing there before the 2 couples in their car. So the couples are like, looking at each other like, are you seeing this right now? Are you? Yep, I am. Okay. I mean, I don't know if that's what they really said, but I'm just telling the story. So obviously they freaked out. I mean, there's this giant thing staring at them. So they like freak out and take off in their car, like they speed away and they're trying to get away from it. And then they realize when they look in their rearview mirror that they can see these glowing red eyes following them. They could also see these, black shadows going sort of over their car and in front of them and on the ground in their headlights. So they knew that it was like, they were like, it's chasing us, it's flying after us and chasing us. So finally the couples get to the edge of town and get out of Point Pleasant, and they realize that this thing has stopped chasing them. It is no longer there. They look around and it's just completely disappeared. It's gone. Thank you very much. That is the end of the case. No, I'm joking. So the couples were actually quite rattled by this. They were really, really frightened. So they said, you know what, F this, we're going to the cops. Oh, sorry, sheriffs, as they say it in USA, I think. Sorry, we say cops in Australia. Where do I live? I forgot where I lived. So after they gave their statement to the sheriff, he actually went out to have a little look around himself to see if he could find out a reasonable explanation to what this was. Again, they told the sheriff exactly what they had seen. It was this large man-type figure with huge wings, glowing red eyes. It could fly, and it was chasing them throughout the TNT area until they got out onto the outskirts. And it must have been fast, like it must be able to fly fast because it kept up with the car and they were speeding out of there. So the next day, I believe, the sheriffs put on a press conference to address these issues because Point Pleasant was a pretty small town. I think it only had something around 5,000 people in it at the time that this case happened. So it was the talk of the town. Like, everyone was talking about this winged thing that was chasing these couples, and people were sort of looking at each other like, you crazy? Like, everyone was looking at each other like they were weird as hell. So once the media and the newspapers got a hold of this, boy, did they have a absolute field day with it. They went absolutely nuts for the story. The media then dubbed this creature Mothman. Man thing with moth wings. Mothman, pretty generic, straightforward, to the point. I like it. Great. Close the book. Let's move on. So then, another sighting. November 16th. Same year, 1966. Well, literally the next day. Marcella Bennett was driving at night along with her brother and her 3-year-old daughter, and they were driving to go and see some family who lived on the outskirts of the TNT area. So this is the area where the 2 previous couples had seen Mothman, allegedly. So they pull up to the house that they are visiting, and Marcella's brother had gotten out already and was just staring like straight up into the trees, and he was mesmerized by something. He was like, Marcella, look at these lights. They are so beautiful. Like, come and have a look at them. What are they? Marcella is like, nah, I haven't got time for that. Got no time to look at lights. I've got a 3-year-old. And she just went and walked into the home with her 3-year-old. Originally, Marcella's brother thought that it was a plane like flying over the sky. And then he soon realized that it was not the same kind of lights as a plane, and it wasn't moving like a plane. He was pretty puzzled. Suddenly, while Marcella's walking like out of her car with her 3-year-old towards the front door, she sees something out of the corner of her eye right near her car. So she like swings around just like that, and she sees a creature that she describes as being over 6 foot tall with feathers. She said that it was like a giant bird, but a man as well. Can you drop one more thing, please? Can we please annoy all our eardrums, mine and my audiences included? Just do it one more time, please. So Marcella then falls to the ground. Like, she is on the verge of passing out, and she actually drops her 3-year-old in the process and basically almost falls on top of her. She just couldn't get herself up. She described it as if she was in a trance-like state, and she just couldn't get herself together. She finally gets herself together and picks up her kid, and they all run into the house together that they were going to visit originally. And she said that in that moment she could hear the Birdman thing taking off, because she could hear the wings like flapping through the sky. So then she thought this creature had flown away, but no. The family locked themselves inside the home because they realized that this Birdman thing was flying around their home, landing on their front porch and staring at them through the front windows. Like, that is creepy as heck. Can you imagine those red eyes staring at you through the front windows? I'm not laughing at the people, because obviously they were very terrified apparently from their statements that they made. I'm just laughing at the situation, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just kind of unbelievable, and I'm not in the situation. So the family called the cops, sheriffs, but when help arrived, the creature had taken off into the night, nowhere to be seen. So more and more people were actually coming to authorities saying that they had also seen this Mothman thing, because originally a lot of people didn't want to go to the authorities and tell them about it, because, as I said before, Point Pleasant was a small town, and they didn't want people to think that they were weird and crazy, because people talk about everything that happens in the town. But then when people realized that other people had also seen what they had seen, they felt a bit more comfortable to come to authorities. So it led to a lot of people coming forward saying, yeah, like, I saw that too. I didn't want to say anything before because I didn't want Bob over here to think that I was insane. There were apparently some injuries that people did sustain from Mothman attacks. These included some weirdly shaped burns on people's bodies and very red swollen eyes. So another woman who, by the way, was too traumatized to come forward and tell the story herself, so her boyfriend then and now husband retold her encounter in one of the documentaries that I watched. I'm just gonna call her the woman because they do say her name in the documentary and some readings that I read, but I don't know if that's a changed name or not, and if it said that she was too traumatized to come forward and tell the story, then I don't really want her to say her name on this video. I'd like to keep her privacy private, obviously. The woman was in high school when this happened to her, and she was driving down the road when she saw something very weird on the side of the road. When she looked closer, when she was driving by, she saw that it was the Mothman figure that other people and witnesses had claimed to see as well. And she said the minute that she looked at it, in its eyes, in its glowing red eyes, its wings just like came out and it took off. The husband that was retelling this story said that, you know, back then when he was just her boyfriend, he had gone over to her house on that same night and she was just lying in bed. She was actually very, very traumatized and very frightened of this experience because she didn't know or understand what it was that she had seen, and it really scared her. And apparently she kept saying like over and over again, those eyes. So a writer by the name of John Keel was staying in Point Pleasant at around that time, and he, you know, as a writer, he wanted to know more about this Mothman because everyone in the town was going absolutely berserk over it. He connected it to, you guessed it, UFOs. There was multiple, like dozens of UFO reports in this area. So people naturally thought, well, okay, maybe it's a UFO related thing. People's reports of seeing UFOs were saying that they had seen flying saucer type things. They were very colorful lights, multicolored lights, and they were just spinning and flying through the sky. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at anyone. I just think just the situation is kind of crazy. So there was a guy in the town and his name was Everett Wedge, and he was a very well-respected member of the community. He was a pilot, and one day I'm not sure if it was 4 colleagues including himself or another 4 colleagues and then including himself, making it 5, were standing on one of the local airstrips because that's where they worked. They were pilots. When they looked up into the sky and they saw this big, dark, black, huge bird-like thing flying through the sky. Obviously, he double-checked. They were on an airstrip. He double-checked to make sure it wasn't a plane flying over. But he's convinced that it was not a plane, and he says that it was a creature, 100%, and that it was so big that he thought it could have picked them up, like picked up a human. Then on November 25th, early in the morning, a salesman was driving his car to work in the morning. When he was driving sort of through that local TNT area, and he noticed something flying in the corner of his eye. When he looked, he saw this huge thing, which he originally thought was a helicopter, but then he had a second look and realized it was no helicopter, no. He said it was 100% a huge bird thing, and he estimated that the wingspan alone was at least 10 foot, so it was huge. Then a few months later, the Red Cross van, the poor Red Cross van, got chased as well by Mothman. So there were so many people coming forward with the exact same description that everyone else was saying about this Mothman. And it actually continued over about a year's span, and it had like over 100 sightings. Mothman was sighted over 100 times. About 13 months after the first sighting of Mothman, a huge disaster struck in Point Pleasant. The Silver Bridge collapsed on December 15th, 1967, and it was used all the time by people traveling to and from Mount Pleasant to get out to work, to come back in to go home. So people would use it twice a day. It was very, very popular. There were a ton of people on the bridge that day, and at that time when it collapsed, They were sitting in their cars on the bridge, and it actually ended up killing about 46 people, but there were a lot of survivors. Authorities later said that it did collapse because of a faulty pin in the bridge. And that it was just never well maintained, and they were actually surprised that it was still standing until then. However, a lot of people theorized that it had something to do with Mothman and all the strange occurrences that had been happening with Mothman in the town over the past year, because it was just over a year since the first Mothman sighting. So people were like, Mothman made the bridge collapse. So apparently some people that had experiences with Mothman in the past said that they had had premonitions from Mothman himself about bad things that were going to happen. And people said that they had a premonition that the bridge was going to collapse, and it did. How pretty is this blush? It's from MAC. It's so beautiful. Other people also said that apparently when everyone was focused on the bridge when it collapsed, obviously, there was a large amount of UFO activity that apparently got up and left Mount Pleasant and was never seen again, and no one realized because everyone was watching the bridge, but some people saw it. Some people allegedly said that they saw Mothman lurking around and under the bridge about a week before it collapsed. So again, they thought Mothman had something to do with this terrible tragedy that happened to the town. So then after the bridge had collapsed, apparently there was no more sightings of Mothman. He was just gone. He vanished from Point Pleasant. Because of this, some people believe that, what a lot of people believe Mothman was just a mass hallucination of the population in Point Pleasant. And when the bridge collapsed, obviously everyone turned their attention onto this terrible tragedy that happened, and were mourning the people that lost their lives. So therefore Mothman just disappeared because it was a huge hallucination in the first place. An ornithologist, or a person who studies birds for a living, they said that it's just a big fucking bird. Get over it. But people that saw it were adamant that it was not a bird, because they said they had never seen a bird that big in their entire life. So they were like, no, absolutely not. It was not a bird. It couldn't have been a bird. It was way too big. So what the hell was it that people saw? It's so bizarre. I think people know how big a bird is. You can distinguish between a bird and then something that is so big, not a bird. Some people also theorize that it was a mutated bird, because apparently in the river there was a lot of toxic waste and pollution because of the TNT area. So people were like, okay, it's a mutated bird, and that's why it's so big and is got a weird looking body with wings. So people were like, right, yeah, mutated bird. But how do you explain the glowing red eyes? So flashing forward slightly to Mexico, in 1985, there was reports that there was some huge bird seen flying around right before a huge destructive earthquake hit. Then in Ukraine in 1986, there was reports of a huge bird-like creature terrorizing a particular town, and people didn't know what it was either. In 2001, someone from West Pennsylvania came forward and said that they saw a huge flying birdman thing in the sky. And then in 2001, someone snapped a pic of what they thought to be a creature that resembled Mothman, and it was like jumping from trees and flying through the sky. I'll insert the pic here on the screen now. And this was in the town of Point Pleasant again. It was like it had returned to Point Pleasant. Still no explanation and still no proof, I guess. It depends what you call proof. So the town of Point Pleasant really seems to attract a lot of people with this Mothman history, which I didn't know about until 3 weeks ago. But the people of Mount Pleasant actually decided to create a festival in honor of the Mothman, which is so cute. So the first Mothman festival was in 2002, and now they have it annually on every third weekend of September, which is just so cool. It said there's like 10 to 12,000 people that actually attend this Mothman festival, which is freaking crazy. Like, go Mothman. Popular check. There is also a huge statue of Mothman in the town, and there is also a Mothman museum as well. So do I really have to ask who is ready for a road trip in the third weekend of September to West Virginia? Actually, it wouldn't be a road trip for me. It would be a long ass plane journey and then a long ass road trip. But still, who's down? So, what did you guys think of the Mothman? Please comment below, because I'm very, very interested to hear about people's opinions and read them. I'm interested to know if anyone watching my video is from West Virginia or Point Pleasant or surrounding areas, and if you have, well, obviously you've probably heard of the Mothman because you live there, but are you all about it? Does anyone watching my video attend the Mothman festival? Because obviously it's huge. Like, there's 10 to 12,000 people that attend, so do you participate in the festival? Like, I really want to know. I'm so interested to hear about anyone's experiences. Has anyone experienced the Mothman? If you're from the area, do you often hear stories about it? Do you know people that have experienced situations with it? Have you ever caught a glimpse of the Mothman yourself? Do you guys believe in the Mothman, or do you just think it's another legend? Personally, if anyone asks, personally, I need more evidence when it comes to myths and legends and things like that, and even things with paranormal investigations and ghost stories. I just am the type of person, I need more evidence to believe in something, and I feel like I need some more evidence with Mothman, but I definitely 100% believe in what people have said, their statements. A lot of people came forward to talk about their experiences. So what were they seeing? I don't doubt that they weren't seeing something. I just don't know what it is. Feel free to let me know of any other cases that might be similar to this one. I am more than happy to dive into myths and legends cases, even paranormal investigation cases. I'd be happy to talk about on my channel. Obviously, I want to talk about what you guys want to hear. As I always say in my videos, please feel free to comment down below any other true crime cases that you'd like me to talk about as well. I'm always open to suggestions. I hope you like my makeup. I feel like I don't really look much different, whatever. If you want to know anything I used on my face today, please feel free to leave a comment down below or DM me on Instagram and I will give you the products that I used. Oh, also, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today, and I hope to see you guys in my next case. Bye!